In this tutorial video, I show you how to use the slice ceramic tools to create fur texture in your work. So I am pretty much at the end of this portrait of a red merle Australian shepherd. Now what I need to do is I need to come in and just break up, even though you can't see it in the reference photo, I want to come in and just break up some of the fur and give it a little bit more texture. So I'm going to switch and try out this. Normally I use my slice knife. Recently I've been using this version a lot more, a ceramic cutter knife. So I'm going to try out this one that they've sent me today, which is a precision knife blade, and basically you need to loop your finger through. Now the blade that I've got with this one is the 10518. Now there is a sharper one, and there is the rounded one, and there is also this one here, which is very interesting. I'm going to be doing some work with them next month, so I might be able to have a closer look at these blades. So anyway, soft ergonomic handle, and it hangs for easy storage. So let me see if I can just snap this one out of the case, and we shall give this one a go. Okay, so I've popped this one on my finger, excuse my nails, which desperately need to, and I was waiting until I finish this portrait and the pastel work before I decide to get those redone. Anyway, so I've looped it through. It's feeling a little bit odd because I've got really small hands and fingers at the moment, so maybe that's why, and I can't obviously turn it. It's going to be very fixed in position. I do like the feel. I might switch to the other knife if I don't get on with this one as I'm working it. So I just want to come up, I zoom in a little bit. I'm going to try and stay in shot. I'll keep checking the camera just to make sure I've got it in shot as I work. It's a little bit difficult because obviously the piece is quite big. So I just want to come through. I'm going to move my glassine and my paper around at the same time. I'm just going to start to add in some touches of texture. Now this is in my hand, it's really nice. It's sitting really comfortably because I've let it go, so I'm not actually holding it. Relying on the loop. The loop's sort of keeping it in position, but it just gives me something to rest it against. I'm sort of gripping it very lightly here on the actual, well, the metal grip part. And I always use the blade like this anyway. I'm not sure if you can actually... No, I can't remove the blade for some reason. I'll have to double check that. So let me just zoom in here. Okay, so I want to just texturize. Some of the fur underneath. Now, remember I did this portrait on the brown pastel mat. So when I scrape back, if I scrape lightly, it'll scrape through to one of the previous layers of pencil. But if I scrape hard, it'll take it all the way back down to the brown base layer of the pastel mat itself. Now I don't want to make it samey texture all over, so I'm just going to add a little few, just break up a few little wisps. So I want this fur up here to be really soft, so I'm just breaking up a few little wisps. Whoopsie. So that is something to be aware of when you go to pick your piece up, because that knife is fixed to your hands. Just be really careful. So I just caught it then. Okay, so I'm going to come up through here. This is a really light touch, but hopefully again you can just see instantly how that is texturizing there. I'll zoom in a tiny bit more. Just lift that up into place and do a couple more strokes there. down this outside edge. And the great thing about using a knife, especially this slice ceramic blade, is that these little lines that I'm doing now, these texture lines, I could not get anything near as fine as this with any pencil work. So I'm going to come down this outside edge as well, just break up that fur that's going out into the background. And you do exactly the same as when you are doing your pencil strokes. So you're looking at the direction and the length of the strokes. And you get really light pressure though. You get an instant feel for it. Have a practice on a spare sheet if you need to. Not sure you can see the extent there. Let me just pull out again. Just soften some of this edge. And this is a good thing as well, always make sure you can spin your piece around. Okay, so now this is cutting through. Remember, I've not just got pencil on here, I've also got pan pastel base as well. So in some areas I'm going in even lighter, just giving a hint of cutting through. I don't want to texturise it too much. And when I come in here, I'm going to texturise it a little bit more. It's great because see there I had quite a build up of pigment from the pencil because I knew I was coming in later with the knife. I left that clump there and that's just allowed me to come in and break it up a tiny little bit with the knife. So again, don't panic about if you do have areas where you put your lights over your darks and it turns into a bit of a solid shape. If you're going to use, if you know you're going to be doing some knife work later on, you know that you can come in and just use your knife to break that up. But it's just another thing to keep in mind as you're working. So make sure I've got all this in view. So I'll keep the video running to do all of the texture on this one. I might need to switch to the other knife for the work on the muzzle, but we shall see. Let me just try now then to do it the other way. Normally I flick away, I'm right-handed, I flick away to the right. So let me see if I can turn, I don't think I can. Let me try it upside down. Yep, it works upside down. That is fine, but I've got a feeling when I come to do the work around the muzzle, I might switch to, it's quite delicate there, I need to have really good control. This is the first time I'm using this one and I want to be able to get my angle right. It's working okay. so you can really see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can see if I come up to the next little area. You can see the dust falling off there. And I say, really light. I'm just letting the knife touch the paper. Constantly keep spinning your paper so you've got a nice natural flick. Okay, so I'm going to come in here now and just work through some of the ear section. Let's pull out again a tiny bit. There we go. I must admit, it is much easier flicking away to the right still. Just see if I can manage to do this. No, I'm not. I'm okay going to the right. I'm not happy going to the left. I can bring it down okay. But I think what I'm going to do is just whilst I work that ear, I'll flick back to using the normal blade, and then that will allow me to have better directional control. Same blade in there. This means I can break up some of these clumps. Give them a little bit more texture in through there. Basically the texture matches the ear a lot better now. It's looking lovely, lovely and soft from doing the work with the pencils and the pastels. But this just means if you look closer, you can see even more texture. And I'm working all over, and that way I can bring the texture like an equal consistency all over rather than just working one area way too much. And remember, if you take too much pigment off, just come back in with your pencils. Don't worry about it, you're not going to cut it, as long as you're keeping it at an angle. I'm not going in here with a knife and pressing, trying to cut through anything. I'm just literally scratching the surface. Now I'm going to use this one as well, I think, for the fur work, just to texturise in through here as well. It might not seem like much is happening, but it is enough. This fur is quite soft. I don't want it to look too texturised. This is just simply, I'm going into the dark areas and extending almost the, thinking about the brown underneath the paper, I'm just extending these dark markings downwards and upwards. Just keep going, same direction of the fur, same length as that fur. flicking my eyes backwards and forwards to the camera just to make sure they're all in focus. Just lift up a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. This has made such a difference. It may not seem like much, even on the screen maybe, but I just love this extra layer of work that you can do really quickly and the amount of texture it can give to your fur work. And you can tell, if you can't really see a huge amount that's going on the screen, you can tell how much that is, how fine that refinement is on your actual, on this piece I'm working on. It's subtle, but it's enough to make the difference. Okay, so let me just get that eye in place. I'm going to just come down over this cheek. Okay. Remember, the fur gets nice and long again here, so your strokes are going to become longer. Some places it's lifting and taking it back to one of the colours of pigment underneath. I'm just going to sweep. If I go off screen, I'm literally just sweeping this out to meet the edge that we've already worked along the bottom line of that jaw. Okay, so come back up here now to below the eye area. Now, like we had that clump over on the other side, I can now come in here, break up that clump a little bit. I could have switched back to that little finger held version here, but I'm in the flow, so I'm going to keep going at the moment. Because I'm just finding that with this, the actual knife itself, I'm managing to change direction quite easily. I think going forward I'll be using a combination of the two, because I really did like, once I got going with that finger held one, it was a really nice, comfortable, easy position to hold the piece, the knife, the blade in. Okay, so let's make sure I've got all of this all meeting up. That's lovely. It might not, I say, it might not seem a lot to you guys, but that has made such a difference. Really pleased. So I've got a little bit just to come up over the eye itself. See if I can go back to using this one. So in there, just switch, move across a little bit, zoom in a little bit. Works so nicely. I think it's just getting used to that little, the grip. That you've got, if you've got slightly larger fingers than me, it might sit on there even better. working around. That's great. Okay, so the last area now that I need to do, oh no, I need to do some little work down on here. Done some texturising here, I'll just do a little bit more along that bottom edge. So I go in the top part with light pressure, press in a little bit and then lift away. Well, that should have texturised that up really nicely. I'm going to invest in one of those little handheld Hoover things that you use on what do you call it, on computer keyboards that suck up all the dust. I'm gonna try one of those. I've seen a few people recommending them. I'm just thinking, which hand am I going to hold that in? Obviously I need to grow. I'm always joking about growing an extra pair of hands. But quite literally I think I would need it. So let's just come in here. I need to texturise. I might need to switch to using the knife again across here. Yep, because I need to change direction again. I need to come out to the left. This just allows so well also just to create extra fine details of the flicks that I was struggling to get in the end with my pencils. So let me just take this back. So I can just cut in around those whiskers really well. Real precision. And people say, well, what's the difference between this and using the metal blade? There's a huge difference. The metal blades work. I mean, I used them until I was introduced to the sliced ceramic blades. I use the metal blades now. Fact-wise, these ceramic blades last, now they've been tested, they do last 11 times longer than the steel Stanley blades. Obviously, you can cut yourself, but you'd have to really be unfortunate or make an effort to cut yourself. And to be honest, the design, it's the ergonomic design that the slicer put into these handles as well. There's something that they can be, anything you can basically do with a knife, you can do with the slice. But I think they just put so much thought. I mean, they didn't design these for artists to use per se, but we've just picked them up and started using them. I just find, like I say, yeah, the ergonomics that they put into the handling, because some of these are craft knives, and they just suit our purposes so well. They feel lovely to hold. I do struggle, because a lot of the time things are designed for bigger hands. So for me, I do struggle trying to get something that's not too cumbersome. It's like when I'm trying to cut my papers, my mount boards and things like that, I have struggled in the past with some of the knives that I've used. I'm just going to zoom out a tiny bit here so I can fit in all of this muzzle as I work on it. So for me, this is literally like holding a pen or a pencil. So spin a tiny bit. I can add a little bit more texture around some of these little markings. And now I can add some texture of that muzzle fur. I have to put it up straight because I'm looking at my reference photo at the same time. So let me start up here. Cut away a couple of little details there. And remember, always remember what your base colour is. So if you're working on white paper, you can scratch out your white whiskers beautifully. If you're working on your anthracite, you can put in lots of lovely dark details near the end. Here I'm obviously working on the brown, so I can use that. But again, depending on how many layers of pencil pigment you've got down, if you're light enough with your touch, you can simply lift away to the previous layers. A bit more texture in here. Love it, absolutely love it, because I often use this on muzzles of dogs, because the muzzle, even though it's soft on this dog, it's still quite coarse on most dogs, and you don't want it to be looking like the same fur texture as you've got everywhere else on the animal. So the knife work just simply allows you to create a hint of that specific texture. Not too much, just enough. I wouldn't be able to necessarily create at this point over the pan pastel and the pencils using just my colour pencils. I think we are pretty much there. Let's break this up a tiny bit. And remember, like I say, if you've lifted away too much pigment anywhere at this point, you can just go back in with your pencils now and add some more back in. So if you wanted to press hard here and cut away any areas, literally lift, you press in with the blade, you could lift away a whole deep channel, and then you could go in there carefully with a really sharp pencil and fill that space with pigment again, because you're taking it right back down to the base of the pastel mat. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom out, and that is pretty much where we are going to leave. As I say, I'll probably keep tweaking a little bit, but I'm gonna pretty much leave this one there. Just a few more little flicks with the knife, because obviously I can't leave it alone. So if you've enjoyed watching this little short video, if you've learnt anything at all, please hit the like button below. really helps my channel. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe before you go. And if you'd like early access to all my little hints and tips videos like this, or instant access to all of my in-depth tutorials, this one is an informal tutorial because this one was a commission piece, but all of the videos are gradually being uploaded for this one alongside all of my official tutorials over on my Patreon channel, and the links are all below in the description. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.